What is going on, my precious gems? Thank you for tuning in to Channel 4. I am your host, Frosty Cones, and welcome back to another, it's just a regular video. Today we're going to be covering up some of the updates on Pokemon Duel because there are some new updates coming to a couple of figures, a couple of buffs and nerfs, and a couple of hints as to what the next water... I just spoiled it. I just fucking spoiled it. I was gonna try to keep it all suspenseful and shit. We even have Kyogre on the layout and shit. I messed that up. I'm so sorry. But there are some hints as to a Water Gym Cup coming up very soon. I don't think we haven't had one before. But before we get into that, we're also going to be talking about a little bit of stuff on the channel. I didn't want to do specifically like a separate update video, just because there's not enough like stuff for me to say for like a full update video. So I just want to apologize first and foremost for the lack of uploads in the past couple of days. I think it's been about like 5 days or so since there's been a video. I have seen all of the comments that have come through on like some of the past videos. Thank you guys that have been crushing the support with liking on the videos and commenting. It's always appreciated. It really helps the channel. The reason for not uploading mainly is because I've just been kind of really tired, honestly. I've been really tired, and I've actually been preparing for an interview for a job that I had yesterday, but I just found out today that I got the job, so woo! That's awesome. I'll be starting my new place of work in about 3 weeks. That'll be really awesome, and that'll really, I don't really want to / don't know if I can even say like where I really work, but it's kind of like really personal to me. But just know that it will be helpful to the channel. So that's gonna be, I'm really excited for all of that new stuff. We should be getting back into daily uploads. I'm gonna be spending some time today and even tomorrow bulk recording, but I do want to go ahead and get into discussing these changes because these are some pretty big fucking changes, you guys, and I just can't believe that it's actually happening. One thing I also want to mention before we get completely into this is that we are so close to 500 subscribers on this channel, and I know that I wanted to do like a 420 video. Channel 420 is what I was going to call the video for getting 420 subs by last Thursday, but the video, I didn't really like it. I don't think I really liked it. I'll be doing a separate video covering that. Basically we're gonna do a Q&A, and I'll have that in another video. But we are here, and there are gonna be some stat balance adjustments to a couple of figures. Now, some of these figures include Rayquaza, basically the Weather Trio from Gen 3, Palkia and Dialga, Reuniclus, and DEOXYS Dex. Not just DEOXYS the figure, but DEOXYS Dex as well. There's some changes in there. So let's go ahead and talk about them. This is just very basic stuff. Okay, so starting with Dialga, there are going to be some changes. Roar time is now going to be 130. Dragon Claw is going to be 70. The size of Dragon Claw is increased and the size of Mist is decreased, and that's really awesome because that kind of makes Dialga strong enough to take on a DEOXYS. Give that thing a chain level and DEOXYS attack can take it no problem. The other cool thing about Roar Time is that it gets a secondary effect which return the battle opponent to their start of the duel state. And as you can see down here, it's basically specifically for Reshiram and Zekrom. Now, why this legendary counters the other two legendaries, I don't know. Like why Dialga? But I mean, it makes sense because Roar of Time, you know, this is a giant time-telling dragon, so I mean, it only makes sense that he could, you know, alter things states and take them back to what they used to be before they hit the field. So you hit Roar of Time on a Reshiram or a Zekrom or any Pokemon, and it goes back to what it was when the duel started. So weight 9 comes back, the effects of Overdrive, Special Conditions, and Markers are negated. Other things that can affect, that can be reset by Roar Time includes Dark Mist, Fairy Mist, Techno Charge, and Cotton Guard, which, as well as the type added by Forest Mystery. That is really good. Now, if you could only attack your own figures, that would be pretty cool too for the Forest Mystery part. On both the the user and the opponent side. Okay, sorry about that. I had to take care of something real quick. And what I was saying earlier is that the Forest Mystery ability would be awesome if you could attack both your own, like, how to say, how do I say, like, if you have Forest Mystery, it'd be awesome if you can make your own figures, grass figures, which wouldn't make sense because you would probably be rocking a grass team anyway. But on the flip side, if your figures were affected by Forest Mystery, it'd be awesome if you could Roar time them and take that off. But it's probably good enough for you to just sack off the whatever the mon is and wait for it to come back from the PC. Up next we have Palkia, who gets 2 pretty good buffs in damage. Spatial Ring becomes 120, Dragon Claw becomes 70, and Spatial Ring gets a secondary effect. If this battle is a tie, the battle opponent is excluded from the duel. So the question is, what Pokemon really have 120 attack? I'm looking right at Kyogre because of what we're going to be talking about in the next couple of moments. But Kyogre has a 120 Hydro Pump. I can't think of any, like maybe if you give certain Pokemon with 90 attacks, or maybe an evolved Garchomp that gets 120, I think. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I feel like the damage should be still at 100 if they're gonna make it that rule. Because Reuniclus. That is exactly why. I'm pretty sure that's for Reuniclus. So here comes the cool stuff, and this is what I'm gonna be titling the video. DEOXYS is dead. I don't think it's actually dead, before anyone freaks out, but this is pretty much killing off the DEOXYS attack. Time Slip is... oh, did they rename it? His Dimensional Slip, basically his purple, is no longer a 2-star, it's a 3-star, so it has top priority, which is really stupid. And going further into this, we have increased the stars for the Time Slip attack to reduce the frequency of ties and add this Pokemon gains weight 3. So not only are you gaining an extra star to basically ensure that you're going to get benched, but then you have to wait 3 turns before you can even move your DEOXYS, which sucks because the one thing that, like, this is what stops DEOXYS from doing what it does, from destroying lives. Because what you do when you roll on a Dimensional Slip or Time Slip now is you roll on Time Slip, you make them respin for a purple, a 2-star purple or a blue, and hope for the best. Otherwise, you get benched, you can send it back out if you have your entry points open, and rinse and repeat. And I can kind of see, because they were saying duels tended to last longer than desired, with many cases of neither player being able to achieve a breakthrough. And I feel like this does give a huge disadvantage to DEOXYS attack, because if you can't just bench yourself, cleanse yourself of whatever status is, you know, you're confused, frozen, you can't bench yourself if you're frozen. Asleep, I think, or noxious, like any status that you have, you can't just like wipe that off and then go back onto the field. You have to wait 3 turns, which I think would technically be 2 because the weight, like at the end of that turn, the weight goes away. So it would be technically 2 turns, but it sucks because if you're out of options and you have, let's say, like you attack on your turn, you land on Dimensional Slip, you have to wait till, what, 2 turns later. Yeah, well, it's the same way either way. If you attack or if your opponent attacks you, that's kind of what I was trying to think of with that mindset there. But that really sucks. That just gives me a lot less initiative to be offensive with my DEOXYS attack at all. Because normally, like, I made a video last week called something about fucking DEOXYS being strong as hell with pushing shit through, and that's all he does. You can just literally steamroll through anything and just be fine. And it really does suck that, you know, it's got to be this way. But at the same time, it makes sense why it happened, because he's overpowered. He's very strong, but they've made enough checks to this figure that I feel like they would, I mean, there would have to have been, like, these checks that they made had to have not really worked that well. Like, DEOXYS attack must have still been rampant, and I'm really sorry for all the fucking stuttering. I can't think of my words right now, but let's keep going forward. We got something to talk about. No, not yet, because Cosmo Energy got changed, and I wanted to make sure. Empoleon actually got a buff, which is awesome because, oh, my mom said yay. Empoleon got a buff, my mom, yay! So, Metal Claw becomes Ice Beam, and it's a 70, and Hydro Pump, wait, does Ice Beam give it a chance to freeze? I hope it freezes. I hope it freezes. Hydro Pump becomes a 90, I'm sorry, and one of its misses becomes a dodge, which makes it, that just gives it a lot more utility. Honestly, like taking out a dodge piece, I mean a miss piece, and putting in a dodge and not another attack, or just taking out the dodge in particular, or taking out the miss and putting in a dodge. Putting in a dodge makes a Pokemon, or just putting in a blue attack makes a Pokemon figure so good. It makes it so useful. Now, I don't think its misses were that great, but I mean, if you want to level up that chance to dodge, you have the option. So, which can leave the opponent frozen if Empoleon is knocked out. I'm running Empoleon, and I want you guys to keep a little mental tally. So, Empoleon, we're talking about Rayquaza, Groudon, and also Kyogre, which I didn't know that was in the game. I know that this game's been out for about a year, but I've been into it since it dropped in the US. I think that's how that worked, is that it was originally in Japan, and then it moved over here. But they all get a new ability called Primal Rage, and this reads, if the opponent has Groudon, Kyogre, or Rayquaza on the field, this Pokemon gets +1 MP and does 20 damage. Kyogre is covered later in these notes. While these three figures are highly capable each, they have the capability to overwhelm other figures when their ability is active. So that's really awesome, and when either player's Pokemon with the Primal Rage ability have all left the field, then the capabilities of the remaining figures with Primal Rage return to normal. Okay. Wait. Okay, so it has to be on the field. It has to be on the field. And so then we're going into Kyogre, and I had to look up Kyogre again. I have Kyogre right here to my left, or my right, and I didn't know that it was even in the game. So, just to go over what it has for those of you that don't know, like myself, it has 4 attacks, basically, one of them being a miss. So technically 3 attacks, 1 miss. Those 3 attacks are 28. The miss is 12. It has Water Pulse, Hydro Pump, and Tidal Wave as a purple 1-star. And Tidal Wave, let's see, all adjacent Pokemon move back 3 spaces. Those Pokemon gain weight. So think of it like a... Who knocks back? I know, I have it on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. Oh my god. Think of like Magma Slide. Okay, think of Magma Slide, 3 spaces, and then gains weight, but no burn. That is pretty awesome. And Hydro Pump is now going to be 130. It gets now Break Energy. Okay, so Water Pulse is now Break Energy. It's still going to be, I guess, base 50 attack. Added to the wheel piece size of Tidal Wave. So Tidal Wave has a higher chance. Break Energy now has a higher chance. The miss chance is decreased, and we gave it a dodge. Wow. So, as I was saying before, this thing has a dodge now. This is actually the hardest hitting of the weather trio, but I wouldn't say it's the most useful. I would say at this point, the weather trio is Rayquaza's best then Kyogre, then Groudon. Groudon, I love Groudon. I love Pokemon Ruby. All spoilers to a certain project coming soon, but this thing has a dodge now, so that just automatically, its pieces are buffed and its mischance is decreased. Like this automatically gets Break Energy, it gets Primal Rage, just like the other three or the other two, and yeah, this thing is actually going to be pretty good. You put that on a Manaphy team. Put that on a Manaphy team. Actually, why haven't I seen a Kyogre in a Manaphy team at all? That is crazy. Kyogre is a figure that was offered as an event reward in the past. At present, it does not drop from time boosters and cannot be attained in material exchange. However, we have strengthened its capabilities before it has the chance to once again appear as an event reward. So, Water Gym. We saw what was his name? Empoleon. We saw Kyogre. Shiftry's gonna get a buff. Razor Wind's gonna become 70. Pound's gonna become 50. And further increase damage values to make it easier to utilize its cutoff ability. I'm not too familiar with how Shiftry works, so I can't really attest to like how well that ability is. I know my friend really wants to do like a Grass Dark Shiftry deck, but I don't really know what the figure does too much. But here's another big update here. It's Reuniclus and the ability Psychic Net. This has a lot of text, but basically you can't respin if you don't have any Reunicli on the field. And I say Reunicli for plural for Reuniclus because Reuniclus is just weird. Reunicluses is weird. Reunicli. Okay? So you can't respin if you don't have all or any other Reuniclus on your team. If you have 3 on your deck, so let's say you have 3 Reunicli on your deck, you put 1 on the field, you can't respin until you get either 1 or 2 of those last 2 onto the field, and it can only respin when you make the attack as the person owning the Reuniclus. I want to make sure that's clear. Uh-oh. We're running low on HP battery. So I will just go ahead and read this text. So in addition to its highly damaging and excellent special conditioning inducing attacks, due to the effect of Reuniclus' ability, the influence of chance could be minimized in decks by including multiple copies of it in your deck, blah blah blah. Where is it? I just saw it. I literally just saw it. Thus, while it was an optimal figure for players still inexperienced in duels who were looking to master strategies, blah blah blah. Okay, so it's in this paragraph. Now, by changing the activation of the Psychic Net ability to happen only during attacks from Reuniclus' side, we've lessened the merits of defensive strategies, and by changing it so that Reuniclus figures on the bench do not count toward the number of respins, we've tried to make duels more enjoyable for both players. So as someone who personally hates Reuniclus decks, I love that. I just absolutely love that. They did update Dual Brains for Duosion and Colossus. So basically, if you have a Reuniclus is added into the mixture of the things that give those two the boost. So it's not just the 2 first stages of the evolutionary line, it's the whole line that gives Duosion and Colossus the Dual Brains ability. Let's see. And I just said all of that. Now by changing that, it does. So Psyduck got another change. Kabuto got a change. We got 2 water type Pokemon that aren't exactly the best. We got buffs for them. Water Pulse is 60 for Psyduck. The disable piece becomes bigger while the miss is decreased, which is pretty cool. We strengthen its damage values to increase the value of its Migraine ability, which can force an opponent to respin a purple attack. Okay. So then what, I want to look into Psyduck and I want to see what disable does. Kabuto becomes, wait, scratch becomes a mud shot at 40 and decrease size in the piece. Added aqua jet, increase the wheel size of protect and decrease the wheel size of protect, or of miss. So that is pretty good. And I will tell you why that's good. It gets a yellow attack, it gets a higher chance for a blue attack, and that's actually what makes Kabuto kind of a nuisance. I'm like, you want to run something that's pretty cheeky as like a defender, almost a pseudo defender. Kabuto is the mon to do it with because it has such a high chance for a protect, and it has battle armor, which causes respins, and we know how much we love respins in this game. So Kabuto's good. I can't wait to see what they do with Kabutops, like if it'll get like Waterfall and Stone Edge, like some kind of set like that. It'll probably get like Sword Stance or something. Kabuto has been reborn as an almost totally new figure, which is cool. So, change to Feint Attack. It was 30, it was 40 now. Increase the likelihood of evolving into a shift tree without being defeated by another figure. Well, I don't know where a Nuzleaf is ever going to prosper in high tier meta, because there's nothing that hits below like 70. So for the most part, for most of like attackers, like 70. Cosmo Energy is changed completely, almost. Like this is everything. This right here, this change is why I want to say DEOXYS is dead, because instead of being able to rotate your DEOXYS between the bench and the field, you can only move them between the field. So if you have what I have on my deck, and these are all the updates. Oh, and Flame Energy has an added weight effect. That's basically it. I don't really know Flame Energy, but for you Flame Energy users, you'll get a turn of weight whenever the effect is triggered. So let's say that you have my DEOXYS deck here. You pop Cosmo Energy, you send your speed up to put some pressure on, and your opponent wants to attack your DEOXYS speed. You can't switch it. You cannot switch it, because that's just how it is now. That's just how it is, and I don't know how I feel about that, because the DEOXYS deck, like the strategy behind this DEOXYS deck is to be as aggressive / passive aggressive as possible. Put as much pressure forward onto your opponent as you can and make them have to attack you, so you can switch into the right figure to be able to answer it. So it's definitely like it's more of like an early game nerf, I would say, because as long as you ensure that you get all of your pieces out, like you can't just throw your DEOXYS speed all the way out to the opposing corner piece on the field. You have to, you know, maybe send out your regular DEOXYS, or send out your Zapdos and your Chestnut first before doing anything. So I don't know, because I was gonna do some serious grinding with my DEOXYS deck. I honestly haven't been playing this game that much either. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird. I feel lost without it, but I'm not too hyped for the grass gym. I think they also buffed some grass Pokemon because of the water gym, which would make total sense. You know, unless they do electric types, which if they do, then Zapdos is going to be a huge problem in this next gym cup. But I think that's going to go ahead and end off today's video. Let me know your guys' input on the updates down below. I know I was kind of like scatterbrained-ish throughout the video, but whenever I take breaks from making videos, like my commentary like actually does suffer. So I hope you guys just were able to bear through it. I'm sorry if it was really terrible. Sorry. I'm working on it. I'm trying to improve myself, as we always do as human beings. So with all that being said, like the video if you enjoyed this discussion. Again, comment down below what you have to offer in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the changes that they have made in this upcoming update, and subscribe if you're new. Check me out on the socials to the left. Actually, you can subscribe up here, or you can check out yesterday's or the last video I uploaded here. So with all that being said, I'm going to get up out of here and bounce. And thank you guys for tuning in to Channel 4. I'm your host, Fore.K, signing off. Peace.